Hey, this is Ronan Ross, here with another video tutorial for Legendary Game of Heroes Guild War strategies. This is part 2 of my tutorial on how to use the one-turn cooldown Earth Nuke deck for Guild Wars. So if you're watching this, I'm assuming that either you've already watched part 1 or you already know the basics of how to use the deck and just want to kind of see how to uh, utilize this deck against some of the more difficult defenders out there. So just hopping into this practice that I set up, this is the deck that I'm going to be using. I have two ultra rare making use. I have the Verdant Druids, Prophetess Tenera, and I have a turn delay card here. I do have a Talon Partisan Guild War relic, but I'm not going to be using it under the assumption that maybe some people don't have it. But if you have it, obviously it's going to make everything easier. So there are a lot of people out there using Toxin Wardens because Toxin blocks all sorts of healing, and a lot of cards have healing in them, including the ultra rare for this deck, but that's only the active skill. So you're still going to be able to make gems, you're still going to be able to nuke, you're just not going to be able to buff the nuke. Okay, so against the Toxin Wardens, you really need turn delay, and I will show you why. So let's hop into this battle. So the strategy we're going to use here is we're going to basically spend a couple turns on the Toxin Warden, building up our intensity, and that's going to allow us to easily beat him and all the Wardens afterwards. So you see, he's not going to kill us because he doesn't have all fire cudgels anyways. I'm going to turn delay, okay? I'm not going to nuke because I actually want to spend a bunch of turns on this Warden. Okay, you see I'm not doing that much damage, but it's perfectly fine because the whole goal here is just building up the immortal intensity, okay, which was what we're doing. With two ultra rares, you're going to be able to make a lot of power gems each turn, and that's going to fill up your turn delay card, the Yoran Swarmers, every turn, which will make it easy. I probably could have used turn delay there, but it was counters at 3, so it doesn't really matter. And again, just keep matching. Now, when do you stop? I'd say a good ballpark is when you're, 150 to 200 range. Now, you can definitely test with your own cards. Depending on what relics you have, you might have different results. Okay, but I would say a general ballpark would be in that range because that's when you start dealing just like a ton of damage to to cards of any affinity. So, just to demonstrate here, I'm going to use Prophetess Tenera, who will just nuke him to finish him off. So the rest of this battle is pretty straightforward, you see. Even though I have Toxin on me, I can't use Making You. I could match the gems and probably kill this guy, but just using Verdant Druids will do it as well. So now in one more turn, we're going to have the Toxin moved off of us. Okay, so I can match the gems here. And this deck is so strong, with all the right relics, you're going to be able to kill even a really strong Earth Warden. So you want to think ahead when you're making these decisions. Like just now, if you saw, we could have just, depending on how many gems you could have had, you might not have beaten that last Warden. So you might have wanted to have nukes ready instead of having to just match gems. And that's a decision you have to make whenever you choose whether to match the gems or to nuke with this deck, is to think up ahead. Well, on the next Warden, do I want to have the ability to nuke and match gems, or is the next Warden somebody I can just nuke right through or match gems right through without having to worry about doing both? So, see, if I didn't have a nuke, matching gems here probably wouldn't kill him, which is why it's important to think ahead, right? So now I use 2 nukes for this guy. On the last one, even though I don't have any nukes left, it's actually pretty straightforward and easy because now I can use Making You, which I didn't use on the last one, which I could have as well, because there's just so many different choices with this deck and so many different options. So that's the way that I would go about beating somebody who has Toxin first. Now I'm going to just show you another defender setup that I do see out there as well people who have the Palladium Mothership, which gives the Birthright Chaos. Um, that's really annoying because that clears the board, and for this deck, when you don't have a power gem on the board, you don't actually make any more power gems. So that's a situation that's probably going to end up with you losing if you can't make more power gems. So looking at this defender, right, we see that he has a Toxin later on, so we probably want to keep the turn delay card. But because he has the Chaos, Birthright Chaos in the middle, sometimes you see the Birthright Chaos first and Toxin second, but either way, there's a Birthright Chaos in this deck. So we're going to want to have a way to remove it. So you can use United Tars, you can use the Master Collection card from the United Tars deck, or you can do like I do, which is have Slide. Okay, but he has to be specialized to the Fey specialization in order to get the debuff clearing ability. I took out Prophetess Snare because the ultra rares are more valuable than the nukes in the general sense. So let's just hop in this battle and I'll show you how to get past this kind of setup. So right off the bat, again, you gotta think, does the first warden gonna kill you or not? In this case, no, because usually mixed decks will not be able to kill you in the first shot alone, especially not with one of these old ass wardens. So this first warden we're gonna be able to kill really easily. I can just nuke him. Okay, gonna have full board of gems for this warden, and just gonna do a match. Okay, so now we're on Palladium Mothership, who's gonna put Birthright Chaos on us, and I could just match the gems and kill it, right? But then the next turn it's gonna erase all the gems on the board, and I'm actually not gonna have any more power gems. I can use Slide the next turn, but the difference is that on the next turn, if I use Slide, then I'll just have a few gems on the board, while if I use Slide now and clear the chaos, then I'm good to go. Right? So I can get into the next turn without any loss of the power gems that are going to be made by the ultra rare. So you see, right? If I had chaos on me, all these gems would be gone, which would suck a lot. So now, because this Fire Warden was later in this lineup, we have the advantage of still being able to use Making You. Okay, so that actually makes a warden like this, a Toxin Warden, later in this setup, actually not that hard to beat because we have high intensity at 195. I just used 2 of the attack buffs, so I'm going to be able to kill this warden really easily. And then that leads us to the final warden. In this case is Fear, so I'm going to use the turn delay just to be safe. And matching the gems, what we'll find is that we actually don't kill it, but we almost kill it. So that was expected because I've done this already. But now we have a whole bunch of ways to finish it off. So I can use 2 Making Yous, and of course I'm going to nuke with Verdant Druids, and that'll be the end of that battle. So those are the strategies that I use to get by folks who have Toxin Wardens and people who are using the Birthright Chaos. Hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions about this strategy or any specific setups, you can leave a comment below. Find me in the game. Game name is Ronan Ross. Or if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Check out some of the other videos for Guild Wars strategies. I'll be putting out a couple other videos for the newer decks. And otherwise, I thank you for watching, and check out some of the other videos.